It's that time of the year again. Post-Mania release depression.
Yep.
We're going to talk about all the releases, where we think some of them could end up, and all the other news in wrestling. So get ready. Welcome to the Wrestling Council. Welcome to the Wrestling Council. I'm your host, Comic Bob. As always, my good friend, Hollywood Frank.
HW in the house, baby.
You can catch us here every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, talking about all the news in wrestling. You can also follow us on social media, scroll below and in the description. And yeah, it's the circle of life, Simba. People come, people go. It's the way the business works, man. But WWE, a very fairly large size string of releases. A few others that are apparently coming, and some of them a little shock. Some of them were a little shocking. Most of them really weren't.
Yep.
But we'll take a look at all of them, see where we think some of them could end up, what kind of upside they've got, and obviously, right now, I mean, there's a lot of options. So
there is. We'll
take a look at what's going on, and whatever all the rest of the news in wrestling. So, did you change your banner? Because I think your banner was going straight across, and now it's going straight down.
Huh?
Your AEW banner behind you. Is it? Because
no, it's always been down.
Has it always been? That shows you where my brain is. But. Real quick here, leg kick. Hail the Wrestling Council. What's up, leg kick? Yeah, we're going to talk about that because I think that situation is part of the reason why some of these people got released. Yeah, the Alberto Del Rio controversy coming out of AEW. WWE buying AAA. So some interesting things coming out of that. But other than that, you watched Raw, right? You said you watched Raw. Yeah. Did you watch SmackDown last week?
Bits and pieces.
Yep. Raw this week, like I said, Raw this week was okay. The main event was good. It was an okay match until the last like 3 minutes, and then 3 minutes it just got freaking awesome.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Let's save that for our GBU.
Yeah, we'll save it for the GBU. Which you're going first this week. Yeah, hydrate, people. Just wait for a few minutes. Let some more people come rolling in here. But yeah, some interesting news coming out of wrestling this week. And WWE had a few releases of their own. Nothing surprising. Nothing on the level that went on in WWE though. So I know the Righteous were released, and there was one other person, I think, Darby Allin. Yeah, dude, I knew as soon as they said Darby Allin breaks ever, so I can say it's gonna have something to do with skateboarding. It's gonna have something to do with skateboarding, and sure enough, that's what it was. So
yep,
he's hey, guy's alive. That's good. So. Hopefully he stays healthy and makes it all the way to the top where he wants to go, and then gets home safe. So
breathing that fresh mountain air.
Yeah, the Righteous released. Yeah, which to be fair, they really weren't fitting in AEW. They weren't AEW wasn't really doing anything with them. They weren't really doing anything with them all that much on Ring of Honor either. But
yeah.
We'll talk about it more. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and get into our favorite segment. Are you okay?
I'm good.
All right. Let's get into the GBU, baby. the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it is an odd week. So it's Frank. Start us off, brother. What you
This
got?
guy. No Johnny B. Bad tonight, huh?
Yeah, he's probably got something he's going on.
First off, special shout out to all the mothers out there. Happy Mother's Day this Sunday.
Yep.
Happy Mother's Day to my mother and the big guy's mom and all the mothers out there. So obviously our next show will be after Mama's Day. I'll be at work all day.
Yep.
Work in a restaurant. So manager in a restaurant. So you know what that means for Mother's Day. Oh yeah.
Well, we'll be. I think we're taking my mom out somewhere this weekend. I have to leave to my sister because I have to work. So, but I will meet them there.
Yeah, I'll be out. There's a banquet event on Saturday night, so I'll be there at work probably till between 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. Then had to turn around and be back at work at 10 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. We work from 10 a.m. to midnight on Mama's Day.
Hey, yeah, I'm sure you guys will find some time in there to squeeze your mama in.
Yeah,
but,
long day. But anyways, the good. I am looking forward to if the trajectory looks like it's going to be there. Hangman Adam Page versus Will Ospreay in the finals of the Owen Hart Classic.
It's going to be a good match.
It's going to be a good match. Because we've already seen Kyle Fletcher versus Will Ospreay. Something new would be great. If that's the setup, either man, I don't think it hurts either one to lose. I don't think it. I think Will Ospreay will win because then they'll give him a shot at the title. Hopefully, he'll take it off of Moxley. That would be somebody needs to take it off of Moxley.
Yeah,
I don't care who it is. I was tired of Moxley having it. I don't. Nothing against Moxley. It's just the way they're presenting the. It's not doing it for me, but the setup between Hangman and Will Ospreay is looking great. Is it going to be on the same level as Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay? No, but it's going to be a hell of a good match.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. Hangman's had some bangers, so we'll see.
He has. I think Kenny Omega, Ospreay would. They've had some great matches. I just can't see Hangman versus Ospreay being as good. I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to be wrong. I just don't see that. Mr. Choo Choo Train.
Yep.
We'll talk about him in a little bit. And that's my good. My bad is as good as the match was, even the last few minutes of it last night with the main event. I still call him main event Jey Uso when he's not always main event, especially at WrestleMania. But
they called Mr. Perfect, and he wasn't perfect. I know,
but the end where, and Rob and I talked about it earlier, where Seth Rollins had, Jey Uso down for the 1, 2, 3, and CM Punk's music hits, and I know it's part of the storyline, but as long as it took for CM Punk to come down to the ring,
could have cut it to 15.
Seth Rollins, like as soon as he hits that curb stop, boom, I'd have been like, music hits or not, I'd have been like, boom, drop, 1, 2, 3, Seth Rollins new champion. It just took too long for that to happen. Like,
yeah, he kind of stood there for a good 30, 40 seconds for Punk to get to the ring. It was like, good Lord, man.
Now I understand, and Rob said, "Hey, why didn't CM Punk just come out of the crowd?" Well, you already had Sami Zayn.
They should have had Sammy should have come down normally.
Yeah,
is what I said. He should have come out normally, and then when Punk music hits, so it's like, oh, let's go, and then Punk comes from behind him. That would have worked out better.
And you could have had Punk come out from the crowd. The referee gets to 1, 2, and ready go 3, and Punk pulls the referee out of the ring.
Yep.
And that would have been a much better way to handle it than the way they did last night.
The match was a good match. The last 3 minutes, man, other than that, were fantastic. Yeah. Really being really good.
And it just shit the bed with the way they ended with CM Punk.
It took too long for him to get down to the ring.
Yeah. But that's my bad. And my ugly is, besides the purge, we'll talk about Mr. Choo Choo Train and Dakota Kai Kai and all that later. But because they're going to be bringing in AEW talent is going to be going to WWE. It's going to happen.
Oh yeah.
And you got a purge to bring in. But I'm so, as much as I'm tired of the Max and the Hurt Syndicate, I'm even more tired of Max Caster.
Oh, dude, yeah, I was watching a couple of different shows, and they all mentioned the just complete downgrade for the Acclaim. It's like, look, the Acclaim shtick was getting a little old, but they were still pretty over with the crowd and everything, and they were at least somewhat relevant.
Yeah,
this isn't working for anybody.
No, you're. It's not working. It's just whatever they're trying to do. It's just bathroom break for Max Caster, and if I'm in the arena.
Time to go to the concession stand.
Time to go get it. Time to go get a concession stand. Time to get a beer, and hopefully by the time we get to the line and come back, his BS is over because it
only took 3 minutes this week.
Yeah.
So, as like I can't remember. I'm trying to remember what show it was on. I don't think it was Busted Open because I watched so many of them. They kind of bleed together. But one of them, they were talking about how someone said, "Well, at least Max is starting to get over," and he's like, he's nowhere near as over as he was when he was in the Acclaimed. So it's like, he was in the Acclaimed and he was over. He left the Acclaimed, he was completely dead and flat, and now he's 25% over. So he went from being, almost like 100% over to 25% over. So if that's an improvement, sure, I guess.
Yeah,
but. It's like, Billy Gunn is a complete non-factor anymore.
Yeah.
Bowens is like just there.
Yeah.
So it's like the whole thing was for Bowens to come back and say, okay, so Bowens comes back and beats him. Then what?
Yeah.
You got nothing. So what they should have done is they should have just turned the Acclaimed heel and gone that route and tried to do something along the lines of that. But because them splitting them up, they are completely inconsequential now.
Yeah. One of them, it might be like when they split up Heavy Machinery with Otis. Like, I don't even remember the other guy who was in there. But Bowens will get over and Casher will be the next Marty Jannetty.
Yeah. Caster will be end up asking for his release and going somewhere else.
Yeah.
At the rate that they're going.
And if I was WWE, I would be like, no.
There's no reason for him for WWE to pick him up. What role is he going to fill?
No, there's no role.
Right. And considering that one of the main reasons we believe, well, supposedly one of the main reasons is money, they're not going to pay him because their contracts went up from $300,000 to $350,000. Their base contract. Why are they going to spend more money for somebody that they don't have a purpose for? So But I get what you're saying.
Yeah. But that's my GBU. What do you got, big man?
All right. My GBU. The good Will Ospreay pushing for AEW to work with Rev Pro, and once the Rev Pro Championship defended at All In. I'm 100% behind this, man. 100% behind this. One of the things about Will Ospreay that I really like is Will is one of those guys that likes working with other companies, and he's especially dedicated to reviving professional wrestling in Great Britain. For many years before he signed with AEW, one of the things that he had worked into his New Japan contract was so that he could work with Rev Pro. And he was the Rev Pro champion for almost 2 years, I think, and put a lot of work and effort into kind of trying to revive professional wrestling there, and not in a predatory way. He wanted to build Rev Pro up. He wanted to help Rev Pro become bigger and stronger and kind of become the company in Great Britain. And I know that when he left and went to AEW, one of the things he talked about is that he wanted AEW to work with Rev Pro. Now, at the time, things were kind of in flux with AEW, with between AAA, AAA and CMLL, AEW and New Japan. Their relationship was still pretty strong. But AEW wasn't really looking on focusing outside of themselves. I think them working with Rev Pro would be a big deal. I think that's, and I'm 110% behind that, man. Like I said, I've always, gone with the idea that a rising tide lifts all boats. So if one company can help the other, and and in return they can, there'll be some reciprocity there, I'm 100% before. I'm 1,000% behind it. So this to me is a good thing, and I think it would be really cool. I think it'd be really cool to see the Rev Pro World Championship defended at a major company pay-per-view. So that's my good. My bad. Among the WWE releases, there was another release of a talent while injured. Now, there's multiple reasons for releasing somebody. And I know that this, and here's the thing, I know it's part of the business. And like we're going to talk about, I don't think this guy's going to have any problem finding work and being able to apply their trade. I don't think that's going to be an issue. However, when you release somebody and they're injured, that doesn't sit well with me. Yep. At least be there to foot the bill for them until they're healthy. Because they got hurt working for you. So earlier this year, Carl Anderson, he was injured. He was released while injured. He, one member of the Good Brothers, and he wasn't happy about it. And among the new releases was NXT wrestler Riley Osborne. And to make matters even stranger is he was released for what they said were non-wrestling issues. Now, what those non-wrestling issues were, we don't know. It's possible that it might have been something legitimate. It might have been something, hey, you got to go. We don't know. That's the thing. There's a lot of mystery behind it. But releasing people that are injured does not sit well with me. So that's to me, that's not a good thing. So that's my bad. The ugly. This one's kind of funny. It's a little funny, but it's also a little sad. So Hulk Hogan got blasted by Shelton Benjamin after Hogan went on a podcast and tried to claim that he and Shelton had a good relationship. And the whole time he's calling him Benjamin Shelton. So I've actually asked this question before, and I wonder if it's got some legitimacy. We all know that Hogan just pulls shit out of his ass. He's constantly making stuff up, saying things that aren't real. I wonder, though, if the guy's been around for so long and he's done so much stuff and he's made up so much crap, if it's to the point now where he can't. It's almost like he's pulling a Joe Biden, and he can't keep things straight, and he doesn't know what's real and what's BS anymore. So I wonder if he says this stuff thinking it's true, and it's not. You know, because the nonchalant way he just starts throwing this stuff out there, and in today's world, Hogan may not be the smartest guy in the world, but he knows that anything you say when you're out here on social media or on TV shows, that's going to immediately get fact checked like that.
You would think.
So, is it just that it's gone on for so long and he's done so much stuff and there's so much that's like either rumor or half truth, or maybe it happened to somebody else and then he thinks it's him. You know, it's like, is it to the point now where there's so much that he just can't keep it straight anymore, and he thinks what he's saying is true?
I just think he can't keep it straight.
You think he just like doesn't give a crap if he gets fact checked or not?
It's lie on top of lie. It's Hulk Hogan, brother.
Yeah, that doesn't work for me, brother. The truth doesn't work for me, brother. We gotta change it up. Real quick before we go, Big Daddy came in here, man. Let's give Big Daddy his flowers, man.
Hey, yo.
Hey, yo, Big Daddy. All right. Go check out Big Daddy, Guardian of Chaos on YouTube, man. The guy's awesome.
He is.
But that's my ugly. I just like multiple people were shouting out, we're taking digs at Hogan this week. And that one was one where I was like, okay, I think that one's deserved. You're coming out, you can't even keep the guy's name straight. You're claiming you had a good relationship with him, and like, come on, man. It's getting a little ridiculous.
Yeah, brother.
Oh yeah, me and him, we're best friends, brother.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, yeah, Benji Shelton, Belton Shenjamin, yeah, we were tight.
Here's something.
But and then one last thing, just like a real quick shout out to Carl Anderson, who announced and put out on Twitter today that he is 500 days sober, man. Good job, brother. Keep going. Keep it going. Keep it going.
Yeah.
But that's good news to hear.
Hey, Courtney, we haven't seen you forever.
What's up, girl? What are you watching lately? Are you still watching SmackDown or AEW? You watching something completely different? Yeah, big props to Carl Anderson for that, man. That's getting your life together and getting yourself fixed and straight from any kind of addiction is a tough thing, and being able to stick to it, that's awesome. So hope he keeps it up. All right.
One day at a time, Carl. That's all I can do. One day at a time.
It's just like you're looks like Kelly.
Yep.
You know? AEW and baseball. Oh my God. Frank's gonna start a sports podcast one of these days, and it's gonna be 90% of it's gonna be him screaming about the Cleveland.
Yeah.
And how freaking terrible the owners of the team and everything is.
Hell yeah, they are.
But all right, guys, we're gonna let's get into this. So over the was it 4 days ago?
I think
last week. It was last week. Yeah. So last week, WWE released 18 wrestlers from the main roster and NXT. Most of it was from NXT. I think there were about 5 or 6 people from the main roster. And on top of that, there was also there are multiple sources saying that there are several others that have not been announced yet, whose contracts are expiring over the next 6 months, who've been informed that they will not be picking up their contract.
Yeah.
Amongst those people, one of them is supposedly Shinsuke Nakamura, which kind of makes sense considering how much he's making. And they haven't really used him all that much.
And all the wrestlers we're talking about were not released outright. Some of them were told their contracts are not being renewed.
Right. I know Shotzi Blackheart, her contract's up next month. They told her that she was not being renewed. And I think there was one other person I cannot remember off the top of my head. But as is usual, when something like this occurs, the IWC starts losing its freaking mind. And all these accusations and all this stuff starts coming out about who's responsible and Hey, Dr. Huge Show, what's up, man? Appreciate you being here. What do you think? Yeah, what do you think about the all these releases that WWE has done over the last week? And do you think any more are coming? Courtney said, I know 10 people from the writing team was released. Yeah, there were multiple people released from creative. There were also a couple of people that had backstage positions that were released. And that actually happened about 3 or 4 days before the wrestlers were released. And that was pretty much the indicator that this was coming. I don't claim the IWC. I don't think anybody really does anymore these days. But, it is what it is. But, Dr. Huge says they should probably release more. There's too many wrestlers. Yeah, that's one of the things we were talking about is both AEW and WWE's rosters are pretty bloated.
They are.
And especially when you consider that they've got multiple people in NXT that are ready to come up. So the releases aren't surprising. Most of the releases aren't surprising. There were a few I saw. I was like, that's kind of odd. But why didn't they release Liv Morgan? Because Liv Morgan, is, whether you like her or not, is really popular.
She is.
She's very popular. So they're not going to release her. They're making money off of her. But some of them, like I said, like one of the big questions that was coming out was who was responsible? And the big one was Triple H responsible for these decisions? And the answer is, from what I've been able to see, everywhere I've looked, while he may not have personally selected all of these people, as the chief creative officer, he does oversee all personnel, which means he has to sign off on any of these releases. So the answer is, did he pick all these people? Probably not. But did he justify and agree to their release? Yes.
Yes.
So for the people out there that are upset at WWE over this and whatnot, yes, Triple H ultimately does shoulder the majority of the responsibility for this. And as multiple people said, to be clear, if he wanted these people there, they would be there. As chief content officer, they decided that they didn't want these people could be released.
Yeah. And he brought Braun Strowman and some of these other guys back,
right?
When Vince let them go.
Yeah.
So it's not like Triple H didn't have a hand, didn't know that Braun Strowman was being let go. I mean, he brought him back.
Right.
It didn't work out. He was making too much money.
Yeah, and apparently that is another big part of it. It is money. Coming from the TKO board, it said the profit. West says one of the quotes was, "The focus is on profit margins and TKO shareholders' optics each quarter, hence the shedding of contracts." A lot of these guys, you got to remember, a lot of these guys got re-signed, and they released Pat McAfee. I tell you what, listen, I'm not the biggest fan of Pat McAfee, but I have to admit, one good thing is coming out of this. I'm going to go off on a tangent for a second here.
There we go.
One good thing is coming out of this thing with him and Gunther. Pat McAfee actually cut a pretty good promo on Monday Night Raw. Okay, but the best part of that was how Gunther reacted. So for the last 6 months, 8 or 9 months, the way that they have been pushing Gunther has not been great. Okay. They tried to turn him into a face, like a face tweener. It didn't work. I hated it. Everybody hated it. Then they had the whole story, the whole thing with Jey Uso that felt very stunted. It didn't really work all that well. This feels like they're getting him back to being who he was, which is a freaking killer. And that's the way he needs to be. And that is the way that he needs to be presented.
Yes.
He needs to be presented as somebody that if you get in the ring with him, you're going to die. And that line, he said one line through that whole promo. And that line was, not even God's going to be able to take my, I think it was something along the lines of, not even God's going to be able to take my arms off your neck. So getting him back to being the friggin' ring general,
yes,
and
please.
killing people, that's where they need to go with him. The other reason, and this is, and so right here, like, Courtney is saying, just to bring back the woman hitter Del Rio back. That's another reason why I think some of these releases happen is because of the acquisition of AAA. Was one of the first things that happened when they bought AAA is they started signing the top people in AAA's roster. They started signing them to WWE contracts. And the reason why they did that is because even though they had AAA contracts, WWE contracts have specific legal language in them that the company requires. So anybody that they were keeping, anybody that had AAA contracts and they were a major part of AAA, they had to sign. They signed them to new WWE contracts so that WWE had the legal recourse that they normally have. And that is also one of the reasons why Del Rio signed a contract with WWE. So the big controversy about Del Rio signing with WWE, everyone's like, oh, they gave him a new contract. The answer is yes and no. Del Rio already had a contract with AAA, and they had to honor it. And part of the deal when they bought AAA is they had to honor it. They made him sign the WWE version of his of that contract so that they could have the legal language within there that they wanted. So did WWE sign him to a contract? Yes.
Yes.
Technically, yes. It was a holdover of the contract from AAA. They also, however, went out and said that there are no plans for him to be on WWE television. It's strictly a AAA thing. But not to add to the controversy, there's also a new report saying that even though there are no plans for him to be on WWE television, it is possible that he will show up at joint NXT AAA events. So that controversy is going to continue. But as far as the contract releases are concerned, part of these releases came from the fact that they signed all this new this new AAA talent. That's why.
And they're going to be signing AEW talent soon.
Yes, and there are several AEW talents that they're probably going to be signing soon, one of which is probably Mariah May. There's a very good possibility that Wardlow, whenever I know that the reason why Wardlow has been on the shelf is supposedly because he's been injured, but I also think that as soon as his contract's up, he's going to WWE.
Yep.
So there's multiple people that are probably going to WWE there. So Big Day says McAfee is a clown. Stick to game day on his own show. Sure, he represented himself okay in the ring a couple times, but he's annoying AF and taking spots from real talent. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan. At the time when he came in, I thought he was better than most of the other people they had on the announce team because let's be fair, for a while there, the announce team was pretty crap. At this point, the dude's just annoying. He really is. There's better people to put into those positions than him. Dude, I'm at the point now I'd rather have Corey J than him. I'm not. Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Michael Cole, but I'll take Cole over Pat McAfee any day.
The problem with Cole is that Cole is actually he's way better now than he's been for a long time because he doesn't have Vince in his ear making him say stupid stuff.
Yeah.
But he still hits those WWE beats. And that was actually one of the things that was taking me out of the main event on Monday. Is there are certain beats that that when Michael Cole hits those, that the match isn't over. Like like every time he says for the win, you know they're kicking out. They're kicking out right then and there. You know that. So that's something I wish he could break himself from. But when you've been doing that for 20 years, you're not going to be able to break yourself of that. So that's a holdover from the Vince McMahon era. Mal said, let's not forget that you'd see Maine AAA talent every day at indie events all over Mexico. Now that killed the business because, W won't risk that anymore. According to Conan, that's not supposed to be the case. But then again, when you got somebody else, when you got somebody from the outside that's holding the coin purse, you never know what's going to happen. So we'll see what happens. I hope that's not the case. I hope that they don't try to turn AAA into NXT Mexico. Unfortunately, I think that that's a very big possibility. But we'll see. I hope not. But so as far as why they released, and then the other reason, yeah, the thing about Conan that's weird. Every once in a while, like I'll listen to him. Whenever I listen to him, like I get about 15, 20 minutes and I got to turn it off because he's just spewing bullshit. But there, every once in a while, he does hit on something that's true, and why, and he does hit the nail on the head. And one of the things that he hit the nail on the head with is something that AEW needed to do. And I've said this for a while, and I 100% agree with him. And that is AEW at the start of every show, they need to take a page from WWE. And at the start of every show, they need to do a recap of the main events of the that are going on in the company. Because they have so many different venues and so many different things. You can't expect everybody to watch everything. You've got to let them know what's going on. So do a quick 2-3 minute vignette at the beginning of your show and let everybody know what's going on. So yep. I agree with him on that. But then just to touch on the last of the reasons, another one of the reasons is age. A lot of these people that have been released were in their late 30s, early 40s. The late 31s, I'm not so sure about. The late 40s, I get it, especially when it's somebody with a contract as big as the one that Strowman had, because Strowman was getting something like close to $800,000 a year. He was getting like $750,000, $800K a year, which is way above the base price, especially if you're not using the guy that much. I can kind of understand that. But speaking of Strowman, some all the names of the WWE releases. Let's go through all of them. Like I said, there were 19 of them. 18 of them. 19 if you include Nakamura, which I believe they're saying his contract is up in September, and they've informed him that they're not going to pick up his contract. So the biggest name obviously is Braun Strowman. It doesn't surprise me. I have to admit that when they brought him back the first time, I was kind of shocked by it, because when you think about who they had on the roster at the time, they don't really need him.
Nope, they don't.
They've got people that are bigger. They've got people that can act as the monster, quote unquote, the monster of the company. There's other people there that can fit that bill. The other thing was his attitude. When he left, he was spewing some crap, man. There's a perception that one of the main reasons why they picked him up was so that AEW wouldn't pick him up. Because you got to remember, this was back when AEW was actually still very was way more popular than they are now. This is before all the blow up with CM Punk, and AEW was kind of firing on all cylinders still, and there was a concern that AEW was going to continue to grow.
Yeah. So
a lot of these people that picked up these contracts during that time, they picked up bigger than usual contracts. And Strowman was one of them. As a matter of fact, I think Strowman was the biggest one.
I believe so.
And then also there's also the fact that he has been diminished. Like Maldacito pointed out, was it leg kick or Maldacito that said that he has partial paralysis in one of his legs?
Might have been Maldacito.
It was leg kick. Yeah,
Was it?
yeah.
Right.
Braun Strowman has 15% paralysis in his leg. Yeah, he's had some pretty significant injuries in the last few years. And unfortunately, that does diminish your ability to perform in the ring. Was it to the point where he couldn't continue? No. I mean, we've seen guys that to the point where they could barely move, and they're still being used by WWE. I mean, look at the Big Show towards the end of his time in WWE. He was the point where he couldn't do anything, barely anything that he used to do. He thought he was going to kill over and die. But when you have a paycheck that big, you've got to believe that there's they're going to be looking at cutting you for that. As far as where he can go, he did burn a lot of bridges. He's one of those guys that, like I said, for most of these people, I would say that outside of the time when the territories were still a thing, there's more opportunities available to people now in professional wrestling than there have ever been. I can think of six companies off the top of my head that these people can go to and they'll be fine. You know, you've got AEW, you've got CMLL, you've got AAA, TNA, you've got MLW, GCW, Rev Pro, New Japan. Yeah, there's options. There's a lot of options available today, depending on what you're willing to do.
Yeah, and for the women, you got Stardom out there.
Stardom, Marigold, I think Shimmer's still around. There's options. There's a lot of options out there. So these people, they're going to be okay. They're going to be able to play. Yeah. NWA. There's another one I forgot. So they're going to have options. Now, where the best fit would them be, don't know. For Braun Strowman, he's going to be a power slap champion. Dude, I could see Braun trying something like that, though. I could actually see him trying something like that. I don't know how well he'd do, though.
I don't know. There's some heavyweights in that.
Dude, bro, there are some. Yeah, TJPW for the ladies. Yeah. But yeah, there's some dudes. There's some dudes out there with like, they may not look like much, man. When they put that hand up next to that dude's face, man, that hand looks like a catcher's mitt. So it's yeah. I don't know if I'd go that route. I don't think you need to add CTE on top of everything.
Yeah, there's definitely some Charlie Murphys out there. Okay.
Yeah, oh my God. But one place that I think he could probably go and he would probably do pretty well is NWA. NWA, Billy Corgan has a thing for those bigger guys, and I think if he went to NWA, he'd probably, it may not be the big spectacle or spotlight that he's used to or that he wants, but he'll get paid fairly well and he'll do okay. I don't know that he fits very well with TNA. I don't think he does. I don't think he fits well with MLW.
Oh, jeez.
Just leave work. Pray for me, dude. Keep your eyes on the road, Mal. Seriously, bro. I don't need something like that on my conscience. Take care of yourself, man.
Watch out for the cops.
Yeah. So with Braun, it's kind of a crapshoot, man. I think the best place for him to go would be NWA, because I think he'd do okay there. I don't know that he would do well anywhere else. Shayna Baszler is another one. I see her going to GCW. She's been working the Bloodsport show. She does well. She does pretty well in that kind of stuff. I see her going something that way. You okay, man? Careful, man. Frank's trying to kill himself. And he takes another drink. So that I think that avenue is a good place for her. Now she is friends with Marina Shafir. And Marina Shafir did do a post out there with her. So is it possible that she can end up in AEW? Maybe. I just don't think AEW needs her. Shayna in AEW. You think so, Steven? I mean, here's the thing. I can see it happening. I just don't know that they need her. I think of all the people that they've released, the one that AEW really should go after is Dakota Kai. And I know at one point, I think in 2021, they were actively trying to get her, and then she got snatched back up by AEW. So by WWE though. Shayna versus Serena Deeb. Yeah, but they don't see. That's the thing though. We say that, and we think about these dream matches and everything, but AEW doesn't do that. AEW has not used Serena Deeb properly since she got there. So that's so I'm looking at that, and I'm also looking at who would really have the biggest impact for them there. And for me, it's Dakota Kai.
My problem with bringing in Shayna is she going to be like Camille?
Oh, bring her in, and then like she's a killer. Bring her in, and then they just scrap on her. Yeah, I mean, the way that the way that WWE the way that Vince did.
Yeah. Man, I don't want them bringing her and treat her like Camille Part 2 or what they're doing with Megan Bain. Like it's. Well, I think they're doing a better job with Megan Bain.
Yeah,
but I don't need a powerhouse. I mean, Shayna got treated wrong in WWE.
Yeah, because Triple H did. Yeah, he did such a great job. He did such a great job of building her up as a monster.
Yeah,
and then as soon as she gets on the main roster, Vince just takes a crap on her.
Yeah,
so it's a freak show. Anything goes. But yeah, I mean, and she also she's really popular on the Bloodsport shows, and she's actually been fairly good on those. So I could see her going to GCW. I mean, it's possible that AEW picks her up, because we know how Tony Khan likes to cave to his talent about things that they want.
Right. And if Mercedes says, "Hey, can we bring Dakota in?" I'm sure they do it.
Oh man, Shayna got some dream matches. If Tony used it right, but in my opinion, Shayna in the Indies makes better sense. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Malasito, no cop, no stop. Don't do that, man. Be careful, brother.
But you lose to Mariah May. Like, do you want to bring? I would, if I'm losing Mariah May, I would love to bring in Dakota Kai.
Yeah.
Put her versus Toni Storm.
Oh yeah, and Dakota Kai, and that's the next person I'm talking about. Dude, she's tailor made for AEW. She really is. She knows a lot of people there. She's got a lot of friends. I think the style that she wrestles would work well there. Matches between her and Toni Storm, her and Mercedes Moné, her and Thunder Rosa. You've got good potential there.
And the bad thing about Dakota Kai, and it's just she's never been able to stay healthy.
Yeah, that's an issue, and that's something that hopefully they can address.
Yeah, there you go. Just like I said, Steve, if she stays healthy, she'd be great. But it's her health is just she gets on a run, and then it's just something happens. Yeah. I think the lighter schedule that AEW puts out would be better for her.
Yeah, I think that's 100% true. But the flip side of that coin, though, is Tony has a tendency to let them do whatever they want, and that can, and for some people that can translate into a higher potential for injury. Look at the Lucha Brothers,
Darby Allin.
Yep, Ray Phoenix. That's why he was on the shelf so much. So, I still feel that Dakota Kai works best in AEW, but we'll see.
Yeah.
A couple of the other ones, Eddie Thorpe
Cora OnlyFans Jade.
Yeah. Well, the thing with Cord, so there's four people on the roster that were released that were under the age that were in their 20s. Cora Jade, Gigi Dolan, Danny Palmer, and Luca Crucifino. Of those, the two that I think have the highest potential are Cora Jade and Gigi Dolan. Now, there was that report that supposedly they got released because they were quote unquote lazy. That's been disputed. I think it's more of an injury situation. We'll see. We'll see going forward. But they're young. The thing is, they're both really, really young. And I don't see, as long as they stay in professional wrestling, I get the feeling that those two eventually will be back in WWE, especially Cora Jade. But
she
as you just said, Cora Jade has decided to go the
OnlyFans.
Go the OnlyFans route. And if she starts pulling in the same kind of money that what's her name was,
Mandy Rose
was, she may be done with professional wrestling, period. So we'll see. Yeah, Braun got released because Vince overpaid. Yeah, well, that was one of the things we talked about, Steven, was that when a lot of these people signed those contracts about 4 years ago, it was because they were trying to prevent them from going to AEW. And that's why Braun got such a big contract out of them. And that was one of the main reasons why he got let go.
Yeah, Cora should have never broken up with Braun Breaker. She'd still be in WWE if she was.
Yeah.
But maybe Cora Jade and Mandy Rose can do a tag team OnlyFans.
Oh, my God. But yeah, Eddie Thorpe is another one, a.k.a. he's formerly known as Carl Fredericks. He was a pretty big up-and-comer in New Japan before he decided to jump ship and sign with WWE and NXT. A big part of the reason why I don't think he got over was because he was kind of undersized. He's only 6 foot tall, which isn't short, but it's not that 6'2", 6'3" that minimum that WWE usually looks for. And as far as him, dude, he's 100% going back to Japan. 100%. He's going back to New Japan because he's already got roots there. He's got friends there. New Japan is desperately looking for people right now. They have lost so much. Yeah. Megan Bain makes something like $500K plus on OnlyFans. Oh yeah, dude, a bunch of them do. Honestly, I think Megan Bain stayed in wrestling just because she loves it. And to be honest, she's good at it. Yep. So is Cora Jade going to leave wrestling? I don't know about that. Maybe, maybe not. She's super young, but at the same time, she's if she goes there and she's making $1 million, like upwards of $1 million a month, like Mandy Rose is.
She has no reason to go back to wrestling.
She has no reason to go back. Yeah, she can do whatever she wants.
Why risk getting hurt when you can do this and sit on your ass or shake your ass on camera and be paid?
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with her. Gigi Dolan is a little different. I think Gigi Dolan, I don't know that she would work she could work in AEW, but I don't think she brings anything particular that they don't already have or that would really help her kind of set herself apart. I can see her going to TNA.
Well, which one was is Darby Allin's ex?
Oh crap! Is Gigi Dolan his ex? I can't remember. Let me look real quick here. Yeah, she's Darby Allin's ex. So yeah, I don't see her going to. I don't see her going to AEW, especially considering how bad. I mean, it depends. I mean, how bad their breakup was. So, Gigi is Yeah, with that. Yeah, I think she fits really well with TNA, and that kind of thing that they're doing. Blair Davenport doing the same thing. Is Blair Davenport doing OnlyFans too? Oh
Maybe.
Lord! Don't tell me that.
Who is it? Rod, we need to do OnlyFans, Rod.
Yeah, why you want everybody to throw up? Yep, she is. Yarp.
Yarp.
Okay, well, shit. Will Ospreay's ex is doing OnlyFans. All right. But shit.
No shit.
Oh my god. But yeah, I think some of these younger ones, I think there's a lot of potential that they'll eventually end up back in WWE. We'll see. But of that, outside of that, though, I mean, Shotzi Blackheart, I can see her doing the indies, and actually, I think she would work better in a program like Marigold or Stardom. Right. I think she's got that kind of look and that feel to her. I don't know that she would work particularly well in AEW. I don't think that that's going to get over. Carter and Chance, they're going. I see them going to TNA, 100%. Although MLW, from what I understand, MLW has been making a move for a lot of the women that were released. Shotzi and GCW, yeah, I see Shotzi and GCW. I could see her going to TNA. I just don't see her kind of, being for scientific purposes, how much is a month of pain? Madison said, for scientific purposes, how much is a month of Bane's OnlyFans? I don't know, man. You're gonna have to look up that yourself. But I think Shotzi works better for a company like GCW or Stardom, because I think she's got she brings something unique to Stardom that will help her get over, kind of the way Blair Davenport did when she went there. So, outside of that, though, most of the people that were released are older people. Well, not older. They're in their mid to late 30s. They could kind of go just about anywhere. I don't think any of them bring anything particularly different to any company. So I don't know. I don't really think there's much of a reason to pontificate where they're going, because I think they could just kind of end up anywhere.
And I don't think either of them are freestyle wrestlers to appear on Hogan's and Bischoff's show.
Oh my god, dude. That show, okay. That show is either going to be a complete disaster, or somehow it's going to be the most awesome train wreck you've ever seen in your life. That's the only two possibilities for that freaking show that Hogan and Bischoff are putting together.
Now, work with me here. Okay, it's Eric and Hogan.
Yep.
Do you think they could get backing from one Vincent Kennedy McMahon?
What? What the fuck? Why'd you say that? Because now my brain's going, oh shit, they might. Here's the thing. I don't think Vince. Goddamn, but you're talking about the same guy that created the XFL. Possibly.
Just because Vince knows a lot of.
He knows a lot of
TV people.
Maybe, but the problem is Vince doesn't do sports. Vince does sports entertainment, and from what I understand, outside of them trying to do like vignettes and stuff like that about the people and all that kind of thing, the in-ring action is supposed to be real, and if he can't control it, I don't know that Vince would be interested.
And I don't either, and I don't know if you would bring in somebody like Shane McMahon or Freddie Prinze Jr.
Freddie Prinze, again, he's a professional wrestling guy. I don't think he has anything to really offer as far as, you know, a legitimate thing like this. This is more akin to UFC than it is to WWE.
Right.
Even though it feels like they're going to try to WWE it up. Shane, maybe, possibly, but I don't know that Shane's going to be willing to work with Hogan and Bischoff and, you know, get that stain on them. Because let's be honest, they're both pretty controversial people. But then again, Shane's never been afraid of that. I don't know. I mean, anything's possible. I think this is just Hogan and Bischoff's vanity project. And like I said, it's either going to be an absolute train wreck or it's going to be the most glorious car crash that you've ever seen. So
hopefully a little bit of both.
We'll see. But yeah, as far as the WWE releases are concerned, and I do think that there's going to be more. There's almost always more. There's usually multiple waves of these things. As time goes on, like you said, they got to free up contract space and whatnot to bring in other people.
Yeah, I mean, they're willing to break the bank for Mariah May.
Yeah, oh yeah, she'll get like a $500K plus. She'll get over. She'll get higher than.
I think she'll get more than that.
She might, but I think she'll. Because we got to remember the base is 350. So if you're getting over 500K, you're actually well over the average.
I think
so. We'll see.
I think she'll get close to 750.
She might. I don't know. She might. But the point to take from all of this is that there's going to be options for everybody. So it's not like it used to be where if you got cut, you were screwed.
Yeah.
There's never, like I said, outside of when there were territories, I don't think there's ever been more opportunities for people. Big Days. Now she has levels beginning from 30 a month and up. Oh my God. All right, guys. We're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. Big Daddy coming in with the win, man. But appreciate everybody that's been here today. Steven, Maldacito, Big Daddy, Courtney, Leg Kick. I'm trying to make sure we Dr. Huge.
Maldacito, just if you're going to follow her on OnlyFans, just don't be watching and driving, okay?
Oh my God. Yeah, you'll definitely get into a wreck. Make sure you're using both hands too. Yeah, we'll see where it'll be interesting to see what happens. It'll be interesting to see if there are any more releases. Like I said, they say that they believe Nakamura's on the internal list and that his contract when it's up, which is presumed to be around September, that he'll be gone. There will be more, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. But anyway, guys, oh my God, we got to get out of here before things get completely off the rails. Appreciate you guys being here. Like I said, hit like, subscribe, share it out in your social media, and leave a comment after the stream post and tell us what you guys to talk about next time. And we will check with you guys next week.
Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there again.
Yep. Take care, guys. Happy Mother's Day.
Bye.